You may be wondering what this is next to me. This is called a Belgian coffee siphon, and today I will be demonstrating how it's used, providing some history and facts about the press and coffee in general, as well as walking you through the process of how it's made. First, let's get to brewing the coffee. Make sure that your Belgian siphon is clean. I'm taking the liberty of cleaning the siphon beforehand. So now, we need water. I recommend using about 400 to 450 milliliters of water. And what you want to do is you want to take that water, preferably hot, as it reduces the total brew time. And you'll take that water and you'll put it into this metal basin. Once that's done, you'll want to secure the fastener on top of the basin to make sure that none of the water vapor escapes while the water is boiling. The vapor is integral to making sure this device works as normal. Now, what we'll want to do is we'll want to get your favorite type of coffee. I prefer a Guatemalan single origin coffee, and make sure you're using grounds. Beans will not work with the Belgian siphon. And now we want to take these grounds. I recommend using 3 tablespoons for the optimal brew. You'll want to take those 3 tablespoons of coffee and put them into the other container opposite of the water. Now that that's done, we can put the lid back on the ground container, and we can light the ethyl lamp underneath the water basin. You just push this up to make sure you can lift this flap, and the flap will stay open so long as there is weight, in this case water, inside of the basin. Now we light the lamp, and now, while we wait for the coffee to brew, I'll walk you through how the actual siphon brews coffee. So, as the water boils inside of the chamber, what happens is pressure is created from the rising water vapor inside. And this water vapor causes the water to go through this tube that goes down into the water chamber and leads to the coffee basin. What this does is it allows the water to go from here, while it's still boiling and hot, to here, and this is where all of the brewing takes place. What will happen while it's brewing is as the water leaves the water chamber, machine will start to rebalance itself, and eventually, once all the water has gone out of this basin, this flap on the ethyl lamp will close. Once it closes, the water chamber starts to cool down. And a basic understanding of physics tells us that once that area of pressure starts to cool down, the pressure decreases and creates a vacuum. This vacuum causes the water, which has now been turned into coffee by this point, it causes that coffee to get siphoned, hence the name, back into the original water basin, leaving the wet grounds to be able to be cleaned out on the next use. And with that, you have a fresh brewed cup of coffee. And now, while we wait for our coffee to brew, I have a few facts and trivia about the siphon, its history, and some trivia about coffee in general. The coffee siphon was invented by Leof Berlin in 1830. While it sported a more vertical design than the Belgian balance siphon that I'm using today, they both had effectively the same functionality, with an imbalance of pressure and a siphoning effect. Back in the 1700s, the Boston Tea Party, an event that is very famous for the American Revolution, actually helped to popularize coffee as a beverage in the United States over tea. And even earlier than that, in the 1400s and 1500s, coffee was actually banned in most places and was exclusive to college campuses. And so coffee is a direct result and cause of the Enlightenment era, because coffee was actually banned in most places and was exclusive to college campuses. And so coffee is a direct result and cause of the Enlightenment era, because it acted as a stimulant for teachers and students, allowing them to learn and think of new ideas. And many people say that when you use a siphon of any kind to brew coffee, you get a richer and less bitter brew than if you just use a generic coffee maker. So now we can see that the lamp is turned off, and the coffee, in a moment, will begin to siphon back into the water chamber. Now, in review, I have informed you on how a Belgian siphon works, how to use one, and some of the facts and trivia attributed to it. So, I hope that I have been able to convince you to pursue a new avenue of coffee making. Thank you.